Hey, this is Business is Good. I'm Chris Cooper, and this is part two of starting a single person business. In part one, we answer the foundational question: what do you sell? What is your business? Not your product or service, but the problem that you're solving. If you haven't done that exercise yet, go back and do it first, because what we're working on today builds directly on that work. Today, we're defining your actual product. We're not writing a business plan. We're not writing a 5-year roadmap or writing your vivid vision. We're actually putting together your first real offer, the thing that you're going to test in the market to see if people will actually pay for it. And here's the key: you want something that's specific enough to sell, simple enough that you can deliver it quickly so that you can find out if it's working, and focused enough that if you tweak one little variable, you get a different product. Most people starting businesses make one or two mistakes. They either try to build everything before they sell anything, or they try to sell everything to everyone. Both are wrong. The goal is not to build a perfect product here. The goal is to build the minimum viable product, your MVP, that solves the problem that you identified in part one, and then test it with real people who will actually pay you. So I'm going to show you how. Here's what happens when somebody decides to start a business. They have an idea, they get excited. They spend months building a website, designing a logo, maybe creating some content, setting up their Instagram account. They might write a playbook for their staff. They might build a course or a program, get the product perfect first. And then they launch and nobody buys. Why? Because they built the whole thing before testing whether anybody actually wanted it. They projected what they wanted, what they liked onto the product instead of actually knowing what their audience wants. Sometimes they go in the opposite direction. They say, oh, I can help with anything, because they don't want to limit their market. Personal training, nutrition, coaching, life coaching, business consulting, whatever you need, they'll do it. And you can see that in their Instagram profile. But nobody buys from them either, because I can help with anything doesn't solve a specific problem for a specific person. The solution here, the next step, is to design a minimum viable product, something that you can describe in one sentence, deliver in a defined time frame, and sell to a specific person who has the problem you identify. This is not going to be your forever product. It's your first product. It's the thing that you're going to use to test whether people will pay you to solve this problem. Now, I'm going to walk you through this exercise right now. Get the download from businessisgood.com, or if you don't have it, you can't get it, just use a blank piece of paper. The first thing we're going to do here is fill in the blanks. Think back to the problems that your family and friends told you that they were having, the problems that you noticed in the first exercise, the problems that we're trying to solve with our business. So what we're going to fill in here is a transformation statement. I help blank person go from X to Y. Okay. So I help whatever it is. This is adults for me. Go from the current painful state of, let's say it's overweight, to fit and thin. Okay. Now that might be something that I'm doing, writing if I'm a personal trainer. So next, I help overwhelmed teachers go from knowing that they should be teaching AI to talking about AI with confidence. So go from not understanding AI to teaching it with confidence. Okay. Now there's more to it. We can keep this simple. If you're just starting out in business, your first business might not be teaching AI or building courses for AI or coaching AI. Your first business might be something more like cutting the grass. Okay. So I'm going to think about my little nephew's first business here. And if he and I were working on this together, I help property owners go from messy, overgrown lawns. Okay. Keep it simple, right? Pretend that you're a 12-year-old writing this yourself. No matter what your business is, you can come up with a transformation statement. Okay. It's very simple. I've owned businesses for over 20 years now. And then quite often when I'm adding new products or brainstorming or coming up with new ideas, coming back to this transformation statement reminds me of what I'm trying to actually do here. What is the problem that I'm trying to solve? Okay. So this forces you to get really really specific. Instead of saying, I help people get fit, that's too broad. We can say, I help desk workers in their 40s go from chronic back pain and low energy to moving pain free and feeling 10 years younger. That's personal. That's specific. It's a transformation. So write yours down now. Be really specific about the person, their current painful state. What problem are they having? How's it causing them pain? And then the desired outcome, what life looks like after they've solved the problem. Step 2 is define your constraint. Okay. What is the thing that you require to create a meaningful result for them? Okay. So the smallest commitment is what we're looking for here. If it's somebody who's losing weight, I need at least 90 days. If it's somebody who just wants to look better, feel better in the mirror, I need minimum 30 days. And if there's a scope constraint, you have to be within this certain area or whatever, we're going to put that down too. We want a time constraint and a scope constraint. The time is how long will this take? 30 days, 90 days. Don't say ongoing. You're not selling a lifetime relationship yet. You're selling a defined outcome within a defined time frame. Scope constraint, what's the one specific outcome you're promising? Not everything. So a good example here is in 30 days, I will help you eliminate morning back pain. So maybe it's 30 days and morning low back pain. So it's not, I will transform your entire fitness and wellness routine forever. That's way too big. You can't deliver that in 30 days. And more important, you won't be able to tell if your program is working. So keep it tight, have one outcome and one time frame. Okay. So notice morning low back pain, morning low back pain, not all the pain you're going to encounter over the rest of the day, but the pain that you wake up with in your lower back at the start of the day. Now, if we're doing property owners with overgrown lawns, the time constraint is by this weekend. It's like, I need a week to get you in. I need a week to book it. So you can change that. And your scope constraint is with a well-manicured lawn, right? I'm not going to be doing landscaping and moving rocks and bringing in gravel or paving your lot. I'm going to be doing a nice lawn, right? So trimming and cutting the grass. So the next thing you want to do is choose your delivery format. This is just a tick box. You're going to pick one. Is it a done for you service? I show up, I do the work for you. Okay. You do the work for them. They pay you and you deliver an outcome. So you're not getting paid by the hour to cut grass. You're getting paid to get them a good lawn. Okay. Is the other one a done with you coaching? I'm going to teach you how to do this thing and help you until you're ready. And then you go off and do it on your own. This was not something that you commonly saw in businesses, but it's the fastest growing option. And third is a DIY course or program. They do the work with our blueprint. I'm going to teach you how to use AI. You're going to follow along and you're going to be doing it. And by the end of this course, you're going to understand it and be able to use it yourself. Okay. So done for you, you do the work and they pay you for doing the work. You deliver an outcome, not time. Second, done with you coaching. You guide them, they do the work. You provide the plan, the feedback, the accountability. And third is DIY course or program. They do the work with your blueprint, you build it once and they follow it. Just pick one of these things. For most new businesses, this is going to be it. But keep in mind, you're getting paid to deliver an outcome. You should not be billing people by the hour. You should be building people for solving their problem. Okay. And this is where most people get this wrong. Yeah, I'll come in and drywall your location for you. I'm going to charge you $30 an hour. Nope. I'm going to charge you $3,500 to drywall this space. That's the right answer. I'm paying to have the project done. If it takes you 1 hour, fine. If it takes you 10 hours, fine. I don't know. But if you're billing me per hour, now both of us are trying to figure out how hard you're working and how hard you should work. Okay. So don't overthink this. You can change it later. The format should just match how people are already trying to solve this problem and failing. If they've tried DIY solutions and failed, then they need done with you solutions. If they don't have time to do the work themselves, they need done for you solutions. Don't overthink it. You can change it later. Just pick the format that makes the most sense for the problem you're solving. Step 4 is to name it and price it. So give your product a name that describes the outcome, not the process. So a bad name is like a 30-day back pain exercise protocol. A good name is pain-free mornings in 30 days. Okay. The name should tell them what they get, not how you do it. Then price it. Remember, how you do it, the recipe, the process, the buyer doesn't care about that. The buyer is paying to have their problem solved. And so that should be reflected in the name. Now, I'm going to get to the pricing just in a moment here. So the product name, I said pain-free mornings in 30 days. Okay. Another one that I just saw recently, actually, from a naturopath is the Allergy Ender program. Okay. I loved it because when I'm visiting that naturopath, what I'm trying to do is get rid of my allergies. I don't care about the testing she's going to do. I don't care about how the body works and histamines and antihistamines work. I want to get rid of these allergy problems. Sign me up. Okay. Just remember that. Now you got to price it. So this is where most people freeze. They either underprice because they're scared that nobody will buy it, or they overprice because they think it makes them look more credible. Most of the entrepreneurs I've ever worked with, and there have been thousands, underprice. And they might tell themselves something like, I'll just do this for the first few people and raise my rates later. And then they never do. Okay. Here's the guideline: price it high enough to qualify serious buyers, but low enough to validate the demand. So if your offer is done for you, you're probably looking at something in the $500 to $2,000 range for a 30 to 90 day commitment. Okay. So let's use the lawn care example because that's the least expensive one. You can pay somebody $25 an hour to cut your lawn, or you can pay $50 to have your lawn manicured every single weekend. So it always looks good. You don't have to think about it anymore. Okay. If that's being done every weekend for 90 days, you're probably in the $500 to $1,000 range. And you want that kind of package. You want that kind of commitment because it's the right thing for the customer. The customer does not need a one and done lawn mowing. The customer does not need to call you every time they think the lawn should be mowed because they'll wait too long. The customer does not need to drive past their property every single week and think, should I get the lawn cut? They don't need to make that purchase decision over and over. Instead, what they should do is buy a package. So a great package here might be beautiful lawn for the summer, something like that. And that's what they're buying. You show up and do it all the time. A lot of snow plowing companies where I live, they do this now. They bill for the season, and it's not $80 every time I plow your lot. It's here's a $3,000 contract. We will show up and plow it as it needs it. You don't have to worry about it. You'll show up to work. The lot will be done. If it's done for you, $500 to $2,000 range, probably for 90 days. If it's done with you, you're probably in the $200 to $1,000 range. So you're coaching somebody through it with the hope that they can do it on their own later. If it's DIY, you're probably in the $50 to $300 range because you're just selling a course or a book or an instruction. Okay. Now, these aren't rules. They're just starting points. Pick a number that feels like it reflects the value of the transformation that you're offering and then test it. Remember, your pricing should reflect your value. The current price for mentorship through Two Brain Business is just over $12,000 for a year. And that's because the system is so refined and proven that we knew that we could deliver double that to every gym that signed up as long as the gym owner did the work as we told them. You can always adjust these prices later, but most people won't. So try to get close. Right now, you just need a number so that you can sell it. Okay. Don't worry about what you're comfortable selling. You won't be comfortable selling anything. You're going to need practice, whether it's $5 or $500. Okay. Now you're going to write the before and after promise. This is the simplest step, but it's also the most powerful. What does somebody have or feel or know before they buy from you? What will they have or feel or know after they complete your offer? And the key is what they feel is what's most important. Okay. So let's say before, what they have now, you wake up stiff and sore every morning. You avoid activities you used to love because you're afraid of hurting yourself. You feel older than you are. After, you wake up pain-free and energized. You move confidently throughout your day without thinking about your back. You become strong and capable again. Now, this becomes your sales copy later, but more importantly, it defines what you as the owner have to deliver. If you can't write a clear before and after promise yet, then you don't have a clear offer yet. So go back to step one. Now, here's why this exercise matters. Most people never get to this step. they stay stuck in that idea phase, or they try to make a decision by gathering more information, or they try to sell something that's vague and generic, and then they wonder why nobody buys it. But if you've completed the exercise, you now have something really concrete. You have a specific offer that you can test with real people. You're not building a business yet, you're testing a hypothesis. Will people pay me to solve this problem in this way? And can I effectively solve it and give them good value? Your first product will probably change. And that's exactly where you should be at this stage. It's fine. The problem you solve stays constant. The way that you solve it will evolve. It'll change over time. But you can't evolve if you never start. And you can't start without defining what you're actually selling. So this exercise gives you that. It's a minimum viable offer, minimum viable product and offer. It's specific enough to sell, it's simple enough to deliver, and it's focused enough to know whether it's working and you're actually solving people's problems. So now that you know what you're selling, the next question is, where do you sell it? You need a platform, a place to collect email addresses, and a way for people to contact you, a way to build an audience and start conversations with the people who have the problem that you're going to solve. And so in part 3, I'm going to walk you through setting up the infrastructure, a simple website, a basic Facebook group, and the other collectors that you need before you start marketing. We'll talk about calls to action, audience building, and how to start gathering the people who will become your first customers. But before we do that, you need to complete this exercise. So go to the show notes, download the first product exercise worksheet, fill it out. And by the end, you will have a transformation statement, a time and scope constraint, a delivery format, a name and a price, and a clear before-after promise. That's your first product. That's what you're going to test. Do this before part 3, because everything we build next depends on knowing what you're selling. This is Business is Good. I'm Chris Cooper. If this was helpful, share it with somebody who's thinking about starting a business. Next episode, part 3, we're going to set up your platform and start building your audience.